My mission, literally, ladies and gentlemen, is about being a fierce advocate for women living fulfilling lives. I don't know what that looks like for you. I know what it's looked like for me, and I've been blessed to coach and be with other women and find out what it looks like for them. So that's what this is about. That is the purpose of this podcast.
Welcome to Fear with Christine Spratley. Living like a head in charge, the podcast where Christine says fear, questions everything, and takes bold action. Christine Spratley is a former professional boxer, nanny, and 29-plus year corporate warrior turned founder of HBIC Advisors, where she is a public speaker and coach. She's been saying fear her whole life, many times without even realizing it. So tune in, spread the word, and get ready, because this isn't about aging with grace. It's about aging with mischief, audacity, and having a damn good story to tell.
Hey, ladies, and a few courageous gentlemen out there. I hope you're listening. Welcome to Fuck Fear with Christine Spratley. That's me, and living like an HBIC. And we're going to start doing it out loud and in public starting today. So welcome to this podcast. And this first episode is kind of to show you what you're going to get into, or at least what I think you're going to get into. Who knows where we'll go with this, but first of all, I want to start by saying I want to notice that you will probably have a reaction. You'll probably have a reaction to what I say. Hopefully you'll have a reaction. And it may be something good. It may be something positive. It may be something negative. It may just be a pause, something that makes you pause. But I'm going to ask you, when you have that reaction, just to kind of be like, what's that about? A lot of our reactions are based on our beliefs. Something is in conflict with our belief. And this is as heavy as I'll get for this first episode. But it's important to kind of realize that when you go into what you think with something, you literally believe a perspective. So when I say HBIC, head bitch in charge, how does that hit you? Does it hit you a funny way? Does it not hit you a funny way? So those sorts of things will tell you that you have a belief. So when that happens, just take note of what the belief is. Then ask yourself, is that my belief or is that a borrowed belief? Did I adopt that belief from somebody else, from a family, from culture, from society, from religion? Where did I get that belief? And is that belief fact or fiction? Have I checked it out? Then go ahead and say, how's that belief working for me? Is it working towards fulfillment or is it keeping me stuck? Basically, doing those things are based on a couple principles. One is Stoicism, which I practice, and we'll go into that in further episodes, not heavy here. And then the other is a great book I read last year called The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. Yes, come for the title, stay for the substance. It really is about examining your beliefs and about examining what you care about and why you care about them. So, on to the fun stuff. I think we're done with that part. So now we can look at the fun stuff. The fun stuff is, who the hell am I? Why should you listen? What's this about? I dated a Schenectady, New York Italian one time, and we were sitting there at breakfast, and his dad said, I took a breakfast roll, and I cut it with a knife. And Papa looked over at my boyfriend at the time, Brett, and goes, "Hey, Brett, what's wrong with your broad, Brett?" And so Brett had to get into it and tell Papa all about what's wrong with his broad. So I'm just going to give you what's wrong with me and all that fun stuff right up above. Grew up in Iowa, farm kid, youngest is 16, so that's a whole bunch of podcast episodes down the road. Sober at 17, ran away at 18. A lot of people probably didn't know that about me. And so basically, I have been saying fuck fear my whole life. Now, I don't think I realized that. And that's kind of the beauty of when you look back and you see you've overcome things. It's really about saying fuck fear and how you've changed, is that you realize you really are stronger and more courageous than you think you are. So a little bit more about me. 29 and a half years in corporate. Before I got to corporate, I was a professional boxer, nanny. That both of those happened by accident. If you can say that. Can you fall into boxing by accident? I don't know. I think you have to be conscious about stepping in the ring. But it was a lot of fun. So I've had an amazing journey. Like I said, of the 29 years, I spent 13 and a half in Big Four. So shout out to all you Big Four survivors and my brothers and sisters in Big Four. I suffer with you. I know you've got a season coming up, so hang in there. And then my personal perspective, like, how did I get here? I am 54, and I am beginning to, like I said earlier, live out loud in public. And I am unapologetically trying to figure out what fulfills me. And I'm helping others do the same. I mean, my mission is I started last year, January 1st, 2024. I put a business plan together about starting a company July of 2026. And good thing I had the plan because the opportunity happened July 2024. So I shortened that puppy up. I tend to do that. So I jump into things. And so that's what I'm doing now. And my mission, literally, ladies and gentlemen, is about being a fierce advocate for women living fulfilling lives. I don't know what that looks like for you. I know what it's looked like for me. And I've been blessed to coach and be with other women and find out what it looks like for them. So that's what this is about. That is the purpose of this podcast. I want to give you life hacks. I want to give you real lessons. I want to bring some clarity around things that I've gone through and that others have gone through. My guests will bring that as well. So it'll be a lot of fun. And I love humor. I love all sorts of humor. So be prepared. So what is the podcast? Well, let's tell you what it's not. If you're looking for the 5 things you've got to do to make a fulfilling life, you're not going to find it here. Keep scrolling. This is about creating a pantry. If you feel you need to be empowered, I'm going to tell you right now, you're not going to have that here either. You have the power. I have the power. I don't always feel like I do, but I have it. I have it. There is a song by Rachel Platten called The Fight Song, and you know that song. Joe, do you know it?
Oh, yeah, I know it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And it's really wonderful because it has this line in there. You might only have one match, but you can make an explosion. And so don't ever estimate. As long as you're breathing, girl, you've got that one match. And that explosion may be little, or you may be setting big waves into motion. And that's the beauty of it. I don't need to be around to see the wave, the tidal wave. I just put that into motion. And that's what I love. And that's what I want to do about this. So, all right, I'm flipping the script. So what is it? It is a pantry. I mentioned that before. I love to cook. And I think anybody can cook as long as they're willing to throw it out and order pizza if it goes bad. So just bring it on. And that's what I do here. The pantry it's full of ingredients of how to live like an HBIC. And that's what my guests are going to bring. And these ingredients are for you to try, for you to figure out, do I want a cup? Do I want 3 cups? Do I want a tablespoon or a teaspoon? And you make your own mixture and you bake your own cake. And that is what this is. That is all what this is about. This covers 4 aspects of your life: your personal, your professional, spiritual, and your physical areas. Okay? Those areas all commingle. And so we get to add all of these ingredients in different amounts to different areas at different times. So again, if you're looking for a checklist of do A, B, C, and D, and I'm done, no, you get to create your own checklist. And that's the beauty of living, is we get to create it. We get to test this puppy out. I always like to say, I would take old and ache over young and dumb any day. And the reason is because I've earned these. I've earned the scars. I've earned the mistakes. And I'm okay with that. People ask me, how did I find what I did? And I like to tell them, because I'm recovering, and I like to tell them it was like when I was drinking. I found the road because I'd hit one side of the ditch, and then I'd cross the road to the next overside, and then I'd cross back. And pretty soon you find the middle of the road because you cross it so many times. It wasn't like I always set out to do it, but that's where it is. And that's the beauty, is I've found my path. So hopefully you'll find yours. This podcast is going to be about myth busting. And I am going to bust the myths that I believed. There's a great book out there called Break Your Own Rules. And I would ask every woman to read it. There were a lot of things in there that kind of shook me awake. And really, I I thought I was very progressive in how I thought and how I presented myself in business, but I didn't realize the box that I had put myself in. And unfortunately, women, we not only put ourselves in a box, we put other women in a box. And I hadn't realized that. And we're going to talk about some of that and how we help the patriarchy in a lot of ways perpetrate on other women. And I'm going to share my experience about doing that to other women and also having it done to me and what that's like. And we're going to explore that later on. But again, I'm going to bust some myths. So the first one that I want you to do, where the fuck fear came from, was this idea that I have to be fearless. I'm not sure. I'm nervous right now. I'm not sure if I've ever really been fearless. I've been dumb and done things and, or excited, but I've had fear. I've got energy going right now. And you don't have to be fearless to do. You don't have to have it figured out to change. You just say fuck fear and take the action. Take the best next course of action. That's what's awesome. So, because you get credit. I know nobody likes participation trophies. I'm a big sports nut, so I don't like them. I don't want to see them in my games when my kids were little or anything like that. But in life, I get a participation trophy. And the one who wins is the one who gets the most at the end of the journey. So I want to intentionally participate as much as I can. So I take the action, and that's what I want to do. That's what I want you to do. I want to encourage you to do that. Now, you may be saying, well, Christine, what are we going to do? Quit our job tomorrow and all that fun stuff? No, I'm not saying any of that. That's not what I'm saying. Don't do that unless you have another job lined up. Don't ever quit a job without having a job. Come on, be smart. But what I am saying is take the best course of action for the common good in yourself. As long as your motives aren't to hurt anyone, and your true motives, we know the bullshit. We know when we're screwing somebody over, okay? But as long as you're doing that person, because you're going to mess up, that person, place, or thing can do one of three things to get over your action. And this is the honest God truth. Joe, you're going to think this is kind of, I don't know what you're going to think, but they have three options, okay? You have three choices. There's about a $76 billion industry out there called the mental health industry. So maybe you'll become someone's therapy session. I don't know. Maybe they need to go to therapy for other things, and they can just work through you and your issue along the way. Religion, you can get on somebody's prayer wall. I mean, if you mess somebody over, they can go, and I grew up Catholic, they can go talk to their priest, they can put you on a prayer wall. We're down in the South. There's a lot of things. You'd be having prayer groups about you down here. But again, there's a lot of worse things that could happen than being prayed for. So my favorite, third, alcohol. Of course, I'm recovering, so I don't get to partake anymore. But there's a whole industry out there. So they're going to have a drink or two on you tonight at the bar. Okay? Make sure to tell them to tip their bartender. Again, I say this lightheartedly, but really, ladies, there are mechanisms out there. You are not so big that you're going to screw up. Well, you're going to screw up somebody's life. Let's just hope that one of these three areas could unscrew it up. So I encourage you to take the action. That's what this is about.
All right, legends. Your morning coffee is sacred. It fuels your badassery. But your mug should do more than hold caffeine. It should hold attitude. Enter the Mugshot Crew. Most days you'll get a text with a fresh mugshot, a quote, a punchline, or a truth bomb that'll either make you snort your latte or remind you that you're a walking powerhouse. Some days, Christine's lucky to find a clean bra, so if you miss one, don't panic. Think of it as a daily pantry essential, a shot of sass with your caffeine. Some days it's inspiration. Fuck fear, sit boldly. Other days it's a brutal truth. Decaf is a crime, and I will press charges. And sometimes it's just a vibe. Living like an HBIC. Look in the mirror. One text, one mugshot, most every day. Because your coffee should hit as hard as your ambitions. Sign up now at ChristineSpratley.com and add some spice to your pantry. One mugshot at a time. The Mugshot Crew. Sipping loud, living proud.
So, who's the podcast for? Who's it not for? Really? I mean, who would not want to be a head bitch in charge, love a head bitch in charge, raise a head bitch in charge, work with a head bitch in charge? Seriously, this is about women in general and what we are. It's really for anyone who is tired of waiting for permission from yourself or others, to become self-supporting through my own contributions for my own fulfillment. A head bitch in charge is really about, as I would say, it's about self-accountability and self-responsibility. I'm going to tell you a little story about kind of what happened, because I think I always had this in me, but I wasn't always this vocal about it. And I wasn't always this clear about it. I was probably 52, and I had a great career. And my stepkids were in college. My husband and I, we have a nice house, all of these things, great career, had run in some good accounts. And I was fucking unhappy, literally. And I remember pulling into the garage one night. My husband pulled in the garage, and we're sitting there, and he looked at me and he said, I don't know what's going to make you happy. I know I can't. I know that you've got to figure that out by yourself, for yourself, not by myself, but for myself. And I had done enough therapy. I had done enough, recovery work. I had done enough work to know that it's an inside job. It's always an inside job. That's why I don't have your answers. I've got ingredients, but I don't have your recipe. And so that began a journey for me. And the way I look at it, and I was told this when I was first in the program, and if someone else has a headache, or if I have a headache and I blame someone for it, if they're responsible for taking care of it, then I have to wait for them to take the damn aspirin. Think about it. If all of your happiness or your fulfillment is based on other people, then you have to wait for them to change and make the change. But if it's my headache and I own it and I do the work, then I can take it whenever I want to. And so what I found through that process that I began at that night and started looking in the mirror is that I had climbed the corporate social ladder. I had done what I'd done. I'd gotten to a point where I would go sit at the table, but I didn't want that seat. Not at that table. And that was really scary. But it also opened up a new world to ask myself, what do I want? What if we started over? What if I went in a different direction? So I said, fuck it. And I did it. So I built my own table. I'm sitting at the head, and we're going to see where it goes. And you get to be along for the journey. So ladies, gentlemen, listeners, welcome aboard. This is for you. So let me tell you some logistics. We're going to slip into logistics. Can we do that?
Yeah.
All right. We are going to do this podcast twice a week, Tuesdays and Fridays. One, we're going to start off the week. Woohoo! We're going to probably go a little bit deeper. And then Fridays, we're going to kick it off into the weekend. So again, that's when you can do it. And we'll tell you where you can find it. You can always check me out at my website, ChristineSpratley.com, www. I think I need to add that in there. Christine Spratley, SPRATLEY.com. And you can find me on Instagram and LinkedIn as well. So my call to action for you, first of all, go ahead and subscribe to this. But also what I really want is I want your feedback. I want to know what you want to listen to and what things that I can bring and guests I can bring that speak to you. This is about providing a pantry of ingredients for your life. So, I'm probably not going to listen to all of you, but I'll listen to some. And so I love getting that information back. The next thing I'm going to do, just to kind of introduce a unique thought, I couldn't do this without having the coaching part of me step in. I am going to have homework on Tuesdays. It's optional, but it's kind of fun. And basically, it's going to give you something to kind of practice. It's based off of what we talk about in this episode, and you just practice it. pressure test it, see if it works, see how much of the ingredient you want to add or don't, or talk about it with your friends, talk about it with your spouse, significant other, whatever. Talk about it with your kids, especially if you have daughters. Talk about it. Get it out there and just test it out. See what it's like to have these conversations. So again, what I want to do is I want to welcome you and I want to thank you and I want to tell you how amazingly excited I am. I am so stoked. I know that's an old line using stoked, but I guess they'd say like fire, bruh, right?
I don't know.
Like, bruh.
I'm not cool. I don't know.
I lost the cool thing a long time ago. I will tell you, this is just to make sure you understand. I'm going to tell on myself here. I don't do things perfectly. I do them perfectly messy. And to give you an example, as I went to the beach over the new year to kind of recenter and kind of get my strategic plan for the year in place. And I have what's called a mugshot crew. They're people that have come to my talks and speaking engagements, and I text them and send them a shot of a mug, a coffee mug. It's not a mug shot. It's not like my mug shot. I don't think I have a mug shot. I don't know. The fake AI will produce one, I'm sure, as soon as I say that. But again, I send out coffee mugs, and sometimes they're sarcastic, sometimes they're not, sometimes, they're all over the place. And so I'm literally walking back from, it's a 7-mile walk that I did along the beach most mornings, and I'm doing the mugshot, and I'm too lazy to learn new technology so I could do it as a group, which most people do. And so I am literally texting people from my phone a copy of this mugshot. And then I had a bright idea and was going to text them again, something else, a follow-up, like a follow-up thought. Hey, something you might have follow up. So I'm doing it. And all of a sudden, as many women know, when you're in your 50s, and for me in my 40s, my incontinence kicked in. And I needed to find a restroom. And I was about 1.5 miles away from any restroom. So I start a little trot here and there, and I'm kind of trotting, and I'm trying to do this. And of course, because I can multitask, I'm doing 5 different things at once. And I've probably got about 200 people that I text. Some are in groups, some aren't. And basically what I ended up doing was I was doing it and it wasn't going through. And I ended up hitting return. And we all know what that means. You're sending out hundreds of texts to the same people. And so finally it got so bad that I had, my urge to go to the restroom that I put my phone in my bra, in my sports bra, and I'm starting to jog. And all of a sudden, my phone starts going off. And I can't open it because I literally am now mad dashing. And I'm 54. I don't mad dash anything. Like, you could be chasing me, and I'd rather fight you than run. And I'm mad dashing back to the condo. And so I get back, and I'm, whip down my pants, sit down, and I look at my phone, and I realize that I have boob text.
Oh, no.
So, and everybody's like, what the hell? I had people that know that I'm sober call me going, are you okay? Are you sober? And I had other people giving me emojis of, beating their head on the table. But I tell you that so you can boob text at 54. Didn't know you could do that. But I tell you this to just say, this is about living. And some people were like, get me off this list. Fine. Others were, I never thought this could happen. Fine. Some people I made them laugh. Some people I made them cry, but we all moved on. And that's what it's about. That's what this podcast is going to be about. So I encourage you to listen. I want you to listen. I want it to be fun. I want to make you laugh. And I want you to know that you are enough. You are absolutely enough. And we're going to have some fun. So tubs, ladies and gentlemen, thanks, y'all.
Thanks for tuning in to Fear with Christine Spratley. Living like a head in charge. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, tell her what topics you want to hear, and share this episode with someone who could use a pantry full of boldness in their life. Remember, life isn't about aging with grace. It's about aging with mischief, audacity, and having a damn good story to tell. So show up, take action, and keep saying fear.